I'm going to record a different kind of video today. This is more of an educational, how I store and ship cards. So why am I making this video? Do I think that there's only one way to do this? Absolutely not. There's probably people that do this better than me, but over time I've seen that there's a lot of sellers or people that ship cards that probably haven't really thought about how to do it in a way that make sure that the cards don't get damaged. So, and unfortunately, I'm one of many people that I know that have had cards get damaged in shipping. So I'm actually shipping out. I made a trade with a fella in India, and part of the trade, I'm actually sending him 4 Sachin cards. So obviously, if you look at those are some big cards. So you can probably guess that I'm getting some pretty valuable stuff in return as part of the trade. But I'm going to package this up, and I figured while I do it, I can kind of talk through my mindset as I package it, the materials I use, and this is really the key. I'll let the cat out of the bag. Painter's tape is like a magical invention. So, and I'll kind of show you why, and why it's so much better to use than other kinds of tapes, which can be really problematic in my experience. And I know a lot of other people have had similar issues. So here we go. So first of all, top loaders. Okay, these are hard plastic. They protect the card. Before you put it in the top loader, you put it in a soft sleeve. So soft sleeve first, then the top loader. Now these can slide around a little bit. So this is the first use of the painter's tape. So for all 3 of these, I'm going to put painter's tape on the top, which you'll see in a second, and that will make sure that in transit they won't slip around. All right, so now here's the updated view of these with the painter's tape on them. Now, why painter's tape, you might ask? So a couple reasons. One, if you don't put any tape, the cards have a good chance of slipping out during shipping. I have definitely gotten cards that were in top loaders. This happened recently, and they got out of the top loaders. The top part of the card, corner gets dinged, or the whole top gets bent, or whatever, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of the top loader. So, the painter's tape will stop them from, slipping out. The other thing, why painter's tape and not another tape? 2 reasons. So one, if you put regular like Scotch tape on top loaders, you're never going to get that stickiness off. You basically ruin the top loader, right? So like that, that's a minor thing. The bigger thing is what happens a lot of times is people will use, this kind of tape, like the Scotch tape. It will actually touch the card. As soon as it gets stuck to the card, you have a really good chance of ripping that card or at least damaging it in some way. Painter's tape is like magic. Like it peels right off super easily. It leaves, no residue. If it touched the card, it wouldn't really bother the card either. So it really is like much, much superior to other kinds of tapes from both of those perspectives. So that's the first use of painter's tape. The next thing I'll show you is, well, first of all, I talked about the soft sleeves and top loaders. I've had a few people reach out and say like, oh man, those mini top loaders are super cool. So you can actually buy packs of tobacco sized soft sleeves, right? So this Bradman here, it's not what I'm sending out, but I just want to show you, so you got the soft sleeve, and then you can buy the tobacco sized top loaders. And there's a couple different brands. You can kind of mess around with which ones you like best. I noticed some of them are too thick, so cards will like slip around in there. But I think this is the Ultra Pro brand, which has seemed to be pretty good. So there you go. I mean, now you got the card in the top loader, in the soft sleeve, and that's pretty much as good as protection as you're going to get. So the next up, there's for graded cards. So I'm sending him out one of these Sachin, which by the way, I made this video like a year ago. This is probably deserves an 8, undergraded for sure. But anyway, I'm going to send this out. This is a protector for graded sleeves. So graded size resealable sleeves. So I'll put this inside of a sleeve just for extra protection. Is the card going to get damaged? No, but it's not really very fun to have slabs that have scratches on them and stuff. So I'll put that inside of here. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm actually going to put all 4 of these inside of kind of a cardboard sandwich, if you will. So I'll cut the cardboard on the outside of these cards, and I'll cut a second piece on top, and then I'll show you what I'll do from there. All right, so you probably can't even see it, but I put this inside of the graded card sleeve. So now that is protected. I also cut the cardboard to fit just bigger than the card. So if I wasn't sending a graded card, right, if I was just sending them this size, I would just cut the cardboard smaller. So it was just a little bit bigger than the outside of this. So now we're back to the painter's tape. So I'm gonna show you a couple things. One, I'm gonna put some painter's tape on here. Then I'm gonna, tape this on top to make sure it's well centered. Then I'll place these on top of that, and then I'll put the top of this on there, and then I'll put some painter's tape on the outside. And when the receiver gets it, right, like as opposed to the clear tapes, it's gonna be super easy for him to take that painter's tape off. He's not gonna have to like get scissors out and hope that he's not like cutting into something. Super easy to take off. I'm telling you, man, painter's tape is the key. So here's the next step. All right, so now watch how easy this is. So I got this slab. I'm gonna place that right in the center, right? So now it can't move around, the painter's tape's on it. I'm gonna put these guys right on top of the slab, okay? I put a little bit of tape on top of here too, so I'm gonna center that right on there. Now I'm just gonna fold these back, and then I'll put 2 pieces of tape there too, and you'll see how good it looks. All right, so here you go. So here's the product. This is what's gonna get shipped in the mail. So think about all the things that could ding and smash this. You've got thick pieces of cardboard on the outside. Now again, like, does it have to be this, this risk averse? No, right? Like, there's sellers in the UK that sell, they ship with these, right? And you've got a thin piece of cardboard on one side, really no cardboard on the other side. And most of the time, those are still gonna be fine. Should you send in a plain envelope with no cardboard? Absolutely not. You'll get a lot of cases where cards will get basically just bent right in half. And even with these, frankly, I had a really nice Bradman rookie that I'm still a little sour about it, but I got it. The whole cardboard thing like this thin cardboard was basically folded in half, and the Bradman card was in there folded in half. That's not gonna happen with this, right? So it's just some extra protection, especially if you're shipping something more valuable. I think it's worth the effort. So now it's on to the final step, which is making sure that you got some kind of bubble wrap protection. So this is going to be too big for one of these really small ones. These would be better for 1 or 2 cards, not graded cards, etc. So for this, I'm going to be using this black envelope. For extra protection, I might even take like an old one of these, wrap it inside there first, and then put that in here. I'll see if that fits for this one. All right, so the cards are now wrapped inside of this old bubble wrap, just reusing something that otherwise would have gone to the dump. And there you go. That's gonna go right inside of here and should fit in pretty easily. Let's give that a whirl. Yep, there we go. So now that's in there. Now for this last part, this is the only place where you don't need any painter's tape. This has the adhesive here, and then I would use packing tape to, adhere the label on here, and that is really well packaged. That's gonna be pretty moisture resistant, right? It's gonna be resistant to the postman, like throwing it or whatever. So anyway, I didn't know if that would be helpful for anybody, especially to people that maybe aren't used to shipping cards, or like now that cards have gotten more expensive. It's just a good way of protecting the investment. It's good for the buyer, but also for the seller to not have to deal with unhappy buyers when cards arrive damaged. So especially in the overseas shipping, would definitely recommend something like this. Would love comments though, if you think, is this overkill? Do you have a better way to do it? Would love to hear your perspective.